Mr. Adams asked if I would lead in prayer, and so yesterday Father Andrew shared a thought from Dr. Mildred Jefferson, and it was that every life has value, worth, and dignity. And I looked up Mildred Jefferson yesterday because I was curious about her, and apparently there's a scholarship called the Trailblazers Scholarship, and I want to read the caption, and it said, the Trailblazers, the unconventional creatives, the ones who break away from the ordinary to lead the fight to affirm the dignity of all humans. And I kind of thought that is a wonderful challenge. And so I truly kind of believe that we are all those creatives, we are all those trailblazers. So my prayer is that God grant you the strength to be the trailblazer, to be the unconventional creative, and to affirm the dignity of all lives. That's my prayer. So Mr. Adams asked me to speak to what drives me to St. Thomas Aquinas High School. I have a 2014 Subaru Crosstrek, and it's kind of new to me because for years I drove a Matrix, and I'm excited about the Subaru Crosstrek because it has heated seats, and so that's kind of a new thing for me. Absolutely. We'll see how that goes this year. There's a poem, and first of all, apologies to my friends in the English department. With my interpretation of poetry, my philosophy is quite simple: never let reality get in the way of what I think. So here goes. There's a poem called Ode on a Grecian Urn by John Keats, and the last line, or close to the last line, says something like, beauty is truth, truth, beauty, that is all you know on earth and all you need to know. And that, for as long as I can remember, that idea has driven me. The idea that everything and everybody has a truth. And when you find that truth and you find that true essence, that's where beauty lies. And it's really been something that I've tried to constantly be thinking about. What is truth? And when you find that truth, that is where beauty lies. So, for example, right now you are sitting here and I am talking and you are seeing me and you are hearing me and you are kind of aware of the world around you, and all of that information is being processed by parts of your body. And so you have this area called your inner ear, and there's a little cochlea in that little inner ear, and there's a little membrane that beats back and forth every time I say something. And those little waves are transferred into like a liquid wave that travels into that little middle area in your ear. And in that little area, you've got cells called hair cells. And they look like SpongeBob, the plankton guy on SpongeBob. And they got little hairs sticking up. And every time I speak and those vibrations happen, those hairs rub across a membrane. And you get these sodium and potassium ions start rushing into these cells, and they generate an electrical current. And that electrical current travels from that inner ear into the brain. And that electrical current activates other cells, other nerve cells, to release neurotransmitters, which are proteins. And they have a particular shape that is vital to their function, and those neurotransmitters activate other nerve cells, and the information that I'm talking about travels deep into the recesses of your brain. That's the truth. That's the truth. Now, the beauty comes from the fact that all of that electrical information traveling deep into the recesses of your brain develop emotions, like a sense of wonder and a sense of awe, a sense of calm. You can hear music and be moved to tears. You can see a picture and sense peace, and even sometimes look at a picture and see a spiritual sense, seeing the face of God in a picture. Or you can see a picture and feel the sense of love. That's the same way. So this is my family, or part of my family. And this is my mom to the left and my daughter Aubrey to the left, and then my daughter Jordan next to her, and that's my wife Christy. Now some of you say, she looks just like the volleyball coach. And yes, she is. That's my wife. And I will simply say this about my wife. I hope in your lifetime you find someone who encourages you to find your truth, who accepts your truth, and who is willing to take part in your truth. Because if you do, that is a beautiful thing. Now, my mom to the left. My mom, I have a brother and 2 other sisters that are kind of all throughout the United States. And my mom is a mom. My mom has been a mom for almost 60 years, a wife and a mom, and she does what moms do. That's her truth. She does what moms do. And I will say this, and I can't speak much about my mom. Words cannot describe the beauty of a mom. I'll just leave it at that. My daughter Aubrey attended St. Thomas and graduated in 2005. And she works at Liberty Mutual by day, and my daughter is a mom. She is a wife. That's my grandson Nolan, and I just calculated that Nolan, hopefully, Mr. Collins or admissions committee, will be the first acceptance of the class of 2032. So we'll see. But anyway, there's Nolan. But my daughter is a mom. And I sit back and I am so proud when I watch her share compassion and love and wisdom with her child, with my son-in-law, and with all the people she engages with. That's her truth. And when you sit back and watch this, you see such a beautiful thing. My daughter Jordan graduated from St. Thomas in 2007. And she also works at Liberty Mutual. Now, my daughter Jordan kind of took a different pathway, and her truth is around music. She absolutely is in love with music. She plays bass in a band, a local band, shameless plug, but when she writes music and she performs music, you truly see her joy come out. You see her truth in all that she does. Again, shameless plug, her band is called Rick Rude, and it was voted Band of the Year in the Seacoast last year, and her latest album, Make Mine Tuesdays, was Album of the Year. So, if you get a chance to see Rick Rude, I have very little to do with any of that, but I bring them up because I believe that their truth, their quest to find what is truly their truth, started here. And it started here with their engagement with teachers, with this community, many teachers who are in this room right now. Teachers who shared their compassion, their joy, their wisdom with my daughters to help them understand what it looks like to have joy, compassion in their lives. And I truly believe that that is part of the truth of St. Thomas. How do you see that? What does it look like? Well, it's actually pretty simple. If you wander down the hallways during class and you listen to the conversations going on in the classroom, you will hear teachers sharing the truth around numbers and symbols and equations and all sorts of things in their discipline, trying to help you to understand the truth behind what they're teaching. Because that's, again, where beauty lies. And I truly believe we have that here. We see it here. Mr. Collins challenged us as a faculty back at the first faculty meeting. He said the theme this year is simple: raise the bar. What drives me to St. Thomas every day is knowing that I am surrounded by friends, colleagues who live that idea of raising the bar. And it challenges me to do the same thing. And there's this wonderful synergy that happens when you have teachers raising the bar. That's the truth. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. David was a senior my first year at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. And David was a member of my first AP Bio class way back in 1985. Aaron was a member of the school. Sorry, happy birthday. Aaron was a member of the school. I didn't have the pleasure of teaching Aaron, but all of the teachers talked about her as the student. So I kind of felt I missed out there. I did get to teach Scott, though. And Scott was a member of my physical science class and other classes, but was also a member of the basketball team, and I was able to coach him. And with Scott, I first understood the importance of being involved with students outside the classroom. Because I really got to know Scott well. He's a wonderful, wonderful human being. Also in 1985, the junior class, there was Alan. There was Tom. There was Stephanie. And there was Sharon. Members of the junior class. Sophomore class, there was Paul. Now, sophomores are kind of special because I taught all the sophomores, but I also coached my first year JV football, JV basketball, and JV baseball. So I got to truly kind of get to see these people. So there's Paul, there's Kathy, there's Tammy. Freshman, that's Kenny. Freshman, Kenny, and Keith, and Jen. So these were students that roamed the hallways of St. Thomas in 1985 as I'm trying to figure all of this out, experiencing St. Thomas Aquinas for the first time. Now, I show you this picture. I have to show you this picture. Now, they were not students here in 1985, but they were students kind of close in 1985. That's Jen and Reno. But I want to show these pictures. I show these pictures because I taught Jen and Reno back in I believe, at least 2 bio classes, one or whatever, but I taught them, and here's what I believe. I truly believe that my quest for truth, my quest for understanding the beauty of biology, at least trying to see the beauty of biology, drove Jen and Reno to go to college and to pursue history. Now, I also was at school here when Patrick and Amanda were roaming the halls of St. Thomas. I don't have pictures of them, sorry. But I also figured that my presence here drove them to major in something non-science. So, in a small way, I am responsible for building the strength of the social studies department at St. Thomas. To that, you are welcome. Ms. Duprow, I have a question for you. What is the name of the metabolic cycle that takes place in the mitochondria that is involved in generating all sorts of oxidized NADs? The answer?
Krebs cycle.
Point! But Jen always says, Ron, I don't remember anything you taught except you screamed Krebs cycle. And so, whatever. However it works, it works. I show you those pictures because those pictures were students, and they are now parents. They are now people who have sent or are sending their children to St. Thomas Aquinas High School. People who understand and appreciate that this environment does help you to kind of that search, that quest for truth. And like I wanted for my children. So I always say, so this is no longer Jen and Reno, that's Nate's dad and Olivia's mom. That's Caitlin's mom. That's Emma's dad. That's Jake, Max, and Maya's dad. And that's Allison and Katie's mom. You're all trying to wonder, like, who are these people? And that's Kate and Ben's mom. And that's Sophie's dad. And that's Nick's mom. That's Vanessa's mom. And that's Shawnee's dad. And that's Allison and Katie's dad. Students at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. Now, last week was one of the hottest opening weeks that I can remember at St. Thomas Aquinas High School. It was miserable. In my classroom, it was at least 85 degrees each day. But yet, every day you came in and you sat down, and not just my classroom, but all the classrooms, you came in, sat down, and you participated. You showed up. And we were talking about rules and regulations. We were balancing equations. We were going through sig figs, and these are the rules for sig figs. This is how you graph. We were teaching about slope calculations. Freshmen were calculating the melting rate of ice for goodness sake. Seniors were playing with pill bugs, trying to elicit a behavior, and they wouldn't work. And then you had to calculate this thing called chi-square. Or is it chi-square? Or chi-square? It's 85 degrees in this room. Who really cares? I'll tell you who really cares, and that is you do. You do. I know. I'm pretty sure. What drives me to St. Thomas Aquinas High School every day, and has driven me for over 30 years, is the fact that you, the students of St. Thomas Aquinas, care. And that is the truth. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yes. That's Brooke's dad, sorry. And that's Kieran's mom. And that's Michelle's dad. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Words cannot express our gratitude to Mr. Holtz. As I'm sitting there, all I can think is in my 15th year that this moment right here is definitely in my top 5 favorite moments of St. Thomas Aquinas. So thank you, Mr. Holtz. Just to note, we want to thank you for your patience, and as we're trying